The wind was sharp and cold that night. The sky above was dark, filled with heavy clouds. Snow covered the broken land where buildings once stood tall. The war had ended, but only silence remained in this dead place. Liam, a young human soldier, sat near a small fire he had built with broken wood. His hands shook as he held a half-eaten ration bar. It was his last food, and his stomach growled with hunger. He wore a torn jacket and old boots with holes. His face looked tired, his eyes dull from days of walking without proper sleep. There was no one left to fight, no one left to talk to. He had no map, no signal, no hope of rescue. All he had was the fire, the food, and memories of better days. Then he heard something moving behind the ruined wall nearby. Liam's heart jumped, and he grabbed a stick from the fire, ready to defend himself. The movement stopped, and silence returned. "Who's there?" He called out, his voice weak but alert. A small figure stepped out from the shadows. It was not human, not completely. Her skin was soft blue. She wore thin cloth wrapped around her like a blanket. Her eyes were wide and glowing, filled with fear and hunger. She was just a childan alien girl, no more than 6 or 7 years old. She looked at him, her hands shaking. Liam lowered his stick slowly. "It's okay," he said, gently. Even though he knew she didn't understand his words, the girl took a step closer, then stopped. Her stomach growled so loudly that it echoed in the quiet night. Liam looked at his ration bar, then back at her. He didn't want to give it away, but he also couldn't ignore the way she looked at the food. She looked like she hadn't eaten in days. Her lips were dry, her fingers purple from the cold. He took a deep breath, broke the bar in half, and offered the larger piece to her. The girl blinked, unsure. Then, with a quick dash, she grabbed the food and ran back behind the wall. Liam waited, but she didn't come out again. The fire crackled, and snow began to fall gently. He took a small bite from the piece he had left. It tasted dry, but it didn't matter. He kept thinking about her, how small she was, how scared. Why was she alone in a place like this? Was her family gone too? Suddenly, he heard soft footsteps again. The alien girl peeked from behind the wall, her eyes curious now, not afraid. She walked forward slowly, holding the food with both hands. She sat down across the fire, still silent. Still watchful. Liam didn't speak either. He just nodded and gave her the rest of his water. She drank it quickly and then smiled for the first time. It was a small smile, but it warmed Liam more than the fire ever could. They sat there, too. Strangers from two worlds, cold, hungry, and alone. Yet sharing a moment of peace. The fire burned low. Liam wrapped his arms around himself, fighting the chill. He looked up once more to see the girl curling up near the fire. She had fallen asleep, her tiny body trembling as snow touched her skin. He took off his jacket and placed it over her. She whispered something in her language, words he couldn't understand. But the way she held his jacket told him everything. By morning, Liam woke up to find the fire dead and the girl gone. The jacket lay folded neatly beside him, and the food wrapper was placed on top. He searched for her, but found only empty snow and wind. He waited another day, then another, but she never returned. Years would pass before he would see her again, but on that cold night, something beautiful was planted. Not in the snow, but in the hearts of a human and a little alien girl. A seed of kindness, given with the last of what he had, and that seed would grow into something powerful, something that would one day shake the stars. Zero was her name. She lived in the hidden colony far beneath the frozen mountains. Her people were called the Valara Quiet, soft-skinned aliens who kept away from war, but war had found them anyway. Her village was burned, her parents gone, and she had run for days. That's when she met him, the human, the kind one. He gave her food when she had nothing. He gave her warmth when the world gave her only cold. Now, years had passed. Zero was older, stronger. But she never forgot. Not a single night passed without her remembering the fire, the food, and the humans' tired eyes. She kept the old food wrapper inside a small pouch around her neck. To others, it was just trash. To her, it was a promise. One day, she would find him. One day, she would repay the gift that saved her life. In the hidden colony, Zero trained with the warriors. The Valari were not known for fighting. But Zira insisted. She trained every day faster, harder, longer than anyone her age. She studied human language, their maps, their history. She even learned to build small machines from junk parts. "Why do you push so hard, Zira?" One of the elders asked. "Because he didn't have to help me, but he did," she replied. "Now it's my turn to help him." Others laughed at her. "Humans are gone from this region," they said. "He probably forgot you," but Zira didn't listen. Her heart knew better. She believed he was alive. She believed kindness like his didn't fade with time. When she turned 16, Zero left the colony. It was not easy. She had to pass the silent zone, a place filled with old war machines and deadly radiation. But she didn't care. Her feet bled, her hands shook, but her will stayed strong. Every time she felt weak, she touched the wrapper near her heart. That gave her strength. She found human outposts, some broken, some full of guards. She watched from a distance, hiding her face under a cloak. She asked traders, "Do you know a man named Liam?" A human soldier with kind eyes. But no one knew. Most laughed or pushed her away. Still, she searched. 1 outpost, 2 outposts. Then 5, then 10. No sign of him. Months passed. Zira started to feel hopeless. Maybe they were right. Maybe he was gone. But then, in a small town near the border, she saw something strange. A child dropped his food, crying, and a human man nearby picked it up, cleaned it, and gave it back. He smiled gently and patted the child's head. Zira froze. That smile, it was him. She couldn't move. Her heart raced, her breath caught. She had imagined this moment for so long, but now that it was real, she felt small again, like the hungry girl by the fire. He turned and walked away, heading toward a large vehicle. Zira ran, but then stopped. She didn't want to scare him. Would he remember her? Would he even want to see her? She pulled back her hood and stepped into the open street. Her blue skin caught the sunlight, and people stared, but she didn't care. "Liam?" she shouted, her voice shaking. The man stopped, turned around slowly. His eyes met hers, at first confusion, then surprise, then recognition. He took a step forward. "Zira," he whispered. Tears filled her eyes. She nodded, unable to speak. Liam rushed toward her, dropping his bag. They stood face to face, silent but full of emotion. He looked at her, all grown up now, and she looked at him, older but still the same. "You kept it?" he asked, noticing the wrapper on her necklace. She nodded. "It gave me hope," she whispered. He smiled, but his eyes were wet. "You grew up strong," he said. "Because of you," she replied. That night, they sat together again, this time by a clean fire in a safe camp. They shared stories. Zira told him how she had trained, searched, and survived. Liam told her how he thought she was just a dream. But dreams don't wear armor, and dreams don't cry. This was real. The little girl was now a warrior, and she had come back not to take but to give. "I owe you nothing," Liam said softly. Zira smiled. "Maybe not," she said, "but I owe you everything." She looked at the stars above. "Now let me repay your kindness." Peace never lasted long on the border worlds. Liam knew this better than most. T had spent years helping rebuild villages and training people to survive, but trouble always came back like a shadow. Now, dark ships had returned to the sky. The same flags of fire and skulls. Raiders, the same kind that burned Zira's home long ago. the same kind that hunted both humans and aliens without care. They had found a new target. A small village where Liam had been staying for a peace mission. He was unarmed. With only a radio and a backpack, the people around him were farmers, not fighters, and the warning came too late. Smoke rose in the distance. Children screamed. Liam tried to lead the villagers into the woods, but the raiders were fast. Metal bikes with fire trails raced across the fields. Blasters lit up the sky with red beams. He held up his hands to show he was not a threat, but they didn't care. One raider knocked him to the ground and pressed a boot to his chest. Another raised a weapon, ready to finish him. Then it happened. A loud cry echoed across the sky, sharp, powerful, and full of rage. From above, a shadow dropped. A figure in sleek, dark armor landed between Liam and the raider with one swift motion. The figure knocked the weapon aside and kicked the attacker back. Liam looked up in shock. He knew that armor. He knew that stance. "Zira," he whispered. The armored figure turned slightly and nodded. "Stay down," she said firmly. Then she moved like lightning. The raiders tried to surround her, but she was too fast. She flipped over one, slammed another to the ground. Her blades flashed in the light, and smoke filled the air. The villagers watched in awe. They had never seen a warrior move like that. Not human, not alien, just pure fire and grace. When the last raider fled, Zero stood tall, breathing hard. Her armor was scorched, but she didn't care. Liam rose slowly, dust on his face. "You followed me?" he said quietly. "No," she replied. "I watched over you." She helped him stand. The villagers cheered, some bowing to her, others clapping. Liam smiled, but he was still stunned. "You could have died," he said. "You once gave your last food to a Capleus Queto. You once gave your last food to a stranger," she replied. "Dying for you would still be a small price." Later that night, they sat by a safer fire, this time surrounded by people who were alive because of her. Zero removed her helmet, her silver hair falling across her shoulders. She looked different, now not the child he once fed, but a protector. "You've changed." Liam said, "So have you," she replied, "but you still have the same eyes." He laughed softly. "I thought you left years ago, that you forgot." "I never forgot," she whispered. "Every step I took, I thought of you." Liam looked into the fire. "The galaxy is turning dark again." He said, "I can feel it." "Yes," Zira said, "and that's why I'm here." She reached into her pouch and pulled out a folded map. It showed paths, camps, movements of raiders. "I've been tracking them for years." She said, "I came close many times, but today, I knew they were coming for you." Liam stared at the map. "You risked everything just to save me." "No," Zero said. "I saved the man who once saved me, and now I need your help." He looked up, confused. "My help?" She nodded. "There's a camp deep in the forest full of enslaved children, half human, half Phalian. Forgotten by both sides, they don't trust anyone, not even me, but you. You're different." Liam's heart tightened. He had seen too much loss. He had saved many, but failed even more. Still, something in Zira's eyes told him this mattered more than anything. He stood slowly. "Then let's go," he said. "I'm ready." Zira smiled, truly smiled. Not like the scared girl in the snow, but like someone who had waited her whole life for this moment. Together, they packed supplies. Together, they walked into the woods. And behind them, the fire faded. Ahead, a new kind of war waited. But this time, they wouldn't be alone. This time, kindness would fight back. The forest was deep, cold, and full of hidden dangers. Every step crunched softly under leaves and ash. Zero walked in front, quiet and alert, her armor blending with the shadows. Liam followed behind, watching her every move. He had seen soldiers before, many of them skilled. But there was something different about Zira. She didn't just fight like a warrior. She moved like someone who had a purpose deeper than battle. After hours of walking, they reached a hidden path between two cliffs. Zira stopped and held up her hand. Liam froze. She crouched low, scanned the area, then touched the rocks, a symbol. Lit up faintly, it looked old, alien, and sacred. "This way," she said, her voice calm but firm. They entered a narrow passage where the air turned colder. Inside was a cave, glowing slightly with soft green light from strange moss on the walls. Zira led him into a wide-open chamber, and there, hiding in silence, were dozens of children. They were thin, scared, and dirty. Some had blue skin like Zira, others had brown. Human faces, all of them stared at Liam with wide eyes. He felt their fear like a heavy weight. Zira kneeled and spoke gently in a language Liam didn't know. Slowly, the children relaxed. One by one, they came forward. But they stayed close to Zira, holding her arms, her legs, her hands. To them, she was more than a protector. She was a mother, a sister, a shield. Liam looked at her, stunned. You rescued them?" he asked. "I found them during raids," she said softly. "Some were left behind. Some were born from pain, forgotten by both sides." She looked at him, eyes serious. "They are me, Liam, just like I was, the night you gave me food." He sat down beside her, watching the children. One small boy crawled into his lap and stared at him with big, curious eyes. Liam smiled and gave him a piece of dried fruit from his bag. The boy took it and smiled back. Zira saw it, and her heart grew warm. "I knew you were still that man," she whispered. They stayed in the cave for days. Liam helped teach the kids how to write basic words in human language. Zira trained the older ones how to move silently, how to protect the younger ones together. They created something new, not just safety, but hope. One night, while sitting near the soft green glow, Liam looked at Zira and asked, "Why me?" Zira blinked. "What do you mean?" "You've grown powerful, respected, strong," he said. "You could have walked away from your past. Why come back for me?" Zira didn't answer right away. She reached into her pouch and held up the old food wrapper, now faded and soft. "This is not trash to me," she said. "This is a promise, a gift that gave me life." She looked at him, her eyes shimmering. "I was nothing, and you gave me something, not because you had to, but because you were kind. In my culture, that means something more than a debt. It means my life belongs to you." Liam was quiet. He didn't know what to say. He'd never expected anything in return. But the way Zira said those words, it wasn't sadness. It was honor to her. Giving her life wasn't slavery. It was devotion. "I don't want you to feel like you owe me," he said finally. Zira smiled. "It's not about owing, Liam. It's about choosing. I choose to protect you, to stand with you, not because I must, but because I want to." That night, Liam couldn't sleep. He stared at the ceiling of the cave, thinking about his old life full of noise, war, and loss. And now, here he was, in a secret place filled with broken children and one strong woman who believed in him more than he believed in himself. He turned and looked at Zira, sleeping lightly, her hand resting near a small child. She wasn't a child anymore. She wasn't just a memory from the snow. She was something far greater, and she had returned not to be saved, but to save him. Liam finally closed his eyes, and for the first time in years, he didn't dream of fire or screams. He dreamed of stars and a girl with silver hair who never forgot what kindness meant. The cave had become a home. Liam helped fix broken walls with wood and old metal scraps. Zira trained the older children in self-defense. The little ones laughed more now, and the fear in their eyes had started to fade. Every morning, Liam woke early and made food with what little they had. Sometimes it was roots from the forest, other times dried meat or old rations. He made sure the children ate first, even if he had to go without. Zira noticed, always watching from a distance, she admired his quiet strength, his way of doing good without asking for thanks. One morning, as the mist rolled through the forest, Zira approached Liam while he was sharpening a tool. "There's something I need to ask," she said. He looked up, smiling softly. "Go ahead." Zira took a breath. "If I disappeared tomorrow, would you still take care of them?" Liam paused, surprised. "Yes," he said, without thinking. "They're not just yours now." "Zira, they're mine too." Zira nodded slowly, but her eyes looked far away. She sat beside him, quiet for a while. Then she whispered, "There are things coming, Liam, worse than raiders, worse than hunger." He turned to her, concern on his face. "What do you mean?" "I've heard transmissions," she said. "A new faction, fully armed, coming to clean the borderlands. They see anyone mixed half-alien, half-human as a mistake." Liam clenched his fists. "What do they want?" "To erase us," Zira said. "To erase me, the children, maybe even you." Silence fell between them. The forest wind howled softly, like a whisper of danger. Liam stood up slowly, his jaw tight. "Then we fight," he said. Zira smiled faintly. "That's what I thought you'd say." Over the next few days, they prepared Zero-mapped escape tunnels through the caves. Liam taught the children how to stay low, how to move quietly. They dug hiding places, made simple traps, and packed emergency bags each day. Zira and Liam worked side by side, like they had known each other forever. One evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky orange, Zira stood on a cliff edge. Liam joined her, both quiet for a moment. "This is bigger than us," she said, "but I'll stand and fight because of you." Because of that night, Liam placed a hand on her shoulder gently. "I never thought a small act would mean so much. You didn't know," she said. "But you saved a future you couldn't see." He looked at her, eyes serious. "I won't let them take you, I promise." Zira turned to face him. "I believe you," she said softly. "But if something happens to me, don't stop. You must keep protecting them. They need you now more than they need me." Liam shook his head. "No," he said, "they need us. Not just one of us. You started this, Zira. But we finish it together." She smiled then, truly smiled, and in that moment, her face wasn't that of a warrior or protector. It was just a girl who once sat by a fire and ate the last food from a stranger's hand. Later that night, a storm rolled in, lightning flashed across the sky, and thunder echoed through the cliffs. But inside the cave, there was warmth. The children slept peacefully for the first time in days. Liam sat by the fire, watching them. Zira leaned against the cave wall, her armor resting beside her. She looked tired, but strong. He looked over and spoke quietly. "We're building something here, aren't we?" Zira nodded. "Not just a home," she whispered, "a future. And in that small corner of the galaxy, under a broken roof and glowing moss, two souls who once met in silence now stood together as guardians of hope. The human who gave his last meal, and the girl who promised to protect him forever." The cave was quiet, but Zira could feel something was wrong. The children were sleeping, the fire was warm, and Liam was checking supplies. But something in the air felt different, heavy, like the sky before a storm. That morning, Zira had noticed small things, footsteps that didn't match the patterns of the children, tools that had moved without explanation, and food missing from the storage crates. She didn't want to worry Liam yet, so she kept it to herself, but her instincts told her that someone inside the cave had turned against them. Later that day, while Liam taught the younger kids how to use emergency flares, Zira called one of the older boys named Rano to the side. Rano was quiet, strong, and clever, and she trusted him more than most. "Have you seen anything strange?" she asked. He hesitated, then nodded. Yes, Zira, he said. Kelvin has been sneaking out of the cave at night. Kelvin was a human refugee who had joined their group months ago. He said he was a survivor of a ruined colony. Zero had given him shelter, food, and trust. But now her heart sank. Did he speak to anyone? She asked. Rano looked nervous. I heard him talking on a communicator. I think he told someone where we are. Zira's blood turned cold. She rushed to find Liam and told him everything. He didn't want to believe it at first. Are you sure? He asked. I gave him medicine, a place to sleep. He even helped repair the cave wall, but deep down, he knew Zira was right. That night, they kept watch together. Zira hid in the shadows near the cave entrance while Liam stayed near the fire pretending to sleep. Hours passed. The wind howled, and then footsteps. Kelvin crept through the tunnel, holding a small device in his hand. He whispered into it, They're here, just like I said, 2 adults, many children. Send the team. Before he could say another word, Zira stepped behind him and grabbed his wrist. She slammed him to the wall with one move. The device fell and broke on the ground. Liam stood quickly, his face full of disappointment and anger. Why? Liam asked. Kelvin spit on the floor. They offered me safety, he said. They said they'd give me a ship if I gave you up. Zira's voice was like steel. You would sell out children for your own comfort. They're not even real people, Kelvin growled. Half-breeds' mistakes before he could say more. Zira punched him in the stomach. He fell to his knees, gasping. Liam held her back. Don't kill him, he said softly. He's not worth it. They tied Kelvin to a pillar in the cave. The children woke up, scared by the noise. Zira gathered them close. We have been betrayed, she said. But we are not broken. Pack your things. We must leave before the enemy arrives. By sunrise, they had cleared the cave. Zira led them through secret tunnels, some barely wide enough for crawling. Liam carried 2 of the youngest kids on his back. No one complained. No one cried. They knew time was short. Behind them, the sound of engines echoed across the rocks. Enemy soldiers had arrived, expecting an easy ambush, but they found nothing. Only a tied-up man who had betrayed his own and silence. Zira and the others made it to a second hideout, an old cargo station buried under vines and dirt. There was no fire this time, no talking. Only quiet breathing and watchful eyes. Liam sat down beside Zira, his arms scraped, his clothes dirty. But his eyes were calm. You saved us again, he said. Zira shook her head. No, we saved each other. She looked at him and spoke more softly. This place is no longer safe. They will keep hunting us. What do we do? Liam asked. Zira opened a small metal box and placed it between them. Inside was an old transmitter, weak but working. I know someone who owes me a favor, she said. They might help us escape this world. Liam looked at the children, all curled up and tired. Then he looked at Zira, her face tired but still strong. Wherever we go, I'll go with you, he said, and I'll keep my promise. Zira smiled for just a second, not the smile of victory, but the smile of someone who had walked through fire and still stood tall. Then we keep moving, she said, and we protect them together. Outside, the night grew colder. But inside that hidden room, something burned brighter than fear. The fire of loyalty, and the unbreakable bond between a human and the girl he once saved with a single meal. The journey was long and hard. Zira, Liam, and the children moved from place to place, always hiding, always watching, but the hope inside them never faded. Each step brought them closer to a future where fear would not rule. They reached a small valley surrounded by tall trees and soft rivers. The land was untouched, peaceful, and quiet. Zira looked around, her eyes shining. This can be our home, she said softly. Liam smiled and nodded. He saw the relief in the children's faces. For the first time, they felt safe. They began to build. With what little they had, they made shelters from wood and stone. The children helped carry supplies. Liam taught them how to farm the soil. Zira trained the older kids to protect the village. Every day was filled with work, but also laughter. One evening, as the sun set and painted the sky with warm colors, Liam and Zira stood at the edge of the village, looking out over the land they had claimed. "We did it," Liam said quietly. "We built a home from nothing." Zira took his hand. She remembered the night long ago when she was just a scared girl. When Liam had given her his last piece of food, she smiled. "That night changed everything." She said, "You gave me more than food. You gave me hope." Liam looked at her, his eyes full of respect and kindness. "I never thought a small act could mean so much," he said. "But you showed me that kindness is stronger than fear." Their bond was more than friendship. Now it was trust, respect, and a promise to protect each other. The children gathered around. Watching quietly, they felt the warmth of this new family, one made not by blood, but by kindness and courage. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Word of their safe valley spread slowly. Other survivors began to arrive. Aliens and humans alike, all searching for peace. They came with tired faces but hopeful hearts. The village grew. They built schools and gardens. They told stories by the fire of the human who had given his last food to a little alien girl, and how she had returned to repay his kindness. The story became a symbol of hope, a reminder that even in dark times, kindness could build a new world. One night, as stars twinkled above, Liam and Zira sat together. The children were asleep. The valley was silent except for the soft sound of the river. Zira leaned on Liam's shoulder. "Do you think this will last?" she asked. He smiled gently. "I believe it will, because kindness will always find a way," she said, "and because we will protect it." Liam nodded. Together, they looked up at the stars, two souls from different worlds, united by a simple act of kindness. Their story was not just about survival. It was about hope, trust, and the power of giving. The little alien girl who once took his last food was now the guardian of a home built on love. And the human who gave that food found a family stronger than any battle. In the quiet valley, life began again, with laughter, courage, and the promise that no one would be left hungry or alone. And so the legend grew, of the human and the alien girl, and how a small gift changed the fate of many.